Welcome to Tales from the Caveside, where Lillian and Chris, we bought a cave house and finca on the outskirts of a small Spanish town. Follow us as we learn to renovate and create a home that we will be proud of. Down in the cave. This is all taken nicely. Yep, just got to get rid of these lines with sponging. Obviously all of that. All of that. And then I started on this, which was a nightmare. Trying to plaster in this little cubby hole was a nightmare. I've only got the top bit done. There's the next shelf and the bit underneath to do when I continue round. But I am pleased that I've done the fiddly bit first. Yeah, I'm going to be happy with that. I'll show you when it's sponged. It's looking rather smart, isn't it? Very happy with that. Good job, well done, I'd say. So the student is home.
Yes.
How do you feel?
My brain hurts. It was a lot harder than I expected. Yeah, but I'll keep going. I've got to learn. I've got 30 hours of this. Well, I've only done a few. There's 30 hours in total, 2 days a week. It's good. Yeah, but it has made my brain hurt. And at one point in time, I was asked a question and I just smiled because my brain just did its normal, it went into reboot mode and just shut down. Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you.
You're keeping on going.
Yes.
That is awesome.
Yes.
Proud of you.
Thank you. Well, the plan was, when I got back, was to have something to eat and sit down in a natter for an hour and then make some more lime up and do at least one more mix. You know, even if it's just a little tiny bit, in the caves. Lillian spotted a problem. She's chucked a load of stones and rocks in a place. So we're going to make this temporary repair a little bit more permanent instead. She thinks there's something living in there, or has been living in there, and the dogs keep licking and digging in the area. So we're going to block that up instead.
So windy outside. I think when I record outside, you're just going to get wind roar. So what Chris is doing now is he's removing all the rocks that I've placed up to stop the dogs going underneath that little basin sink thing, so he can have a proper look to see how we block this up.
Yeah, it's a job we intended to do because we wanted to do it all along here.
Yes.
So this has obviously got to be sorted out. I'm guessing we'll have to do under there as well.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a nest of some description just round that corner.
Oh, is there?
Looks like it.
Let's have a look. Oh yeah.
Anyway, whatever was in there isn't there now.
No, that's the important thing. I was a bit concerned about blocking something in, but also said earlier that unfortunately the dogs are my greatest concern.
Yeah.
Because we have been at the vets before now with snake bites and all sorts.
Yes, we have. Okay, right. So, we'll
Get a mortar bed down and block it up with rocks, build it up like so it looks nice. Hope the wind roar isn't too bad. This wind has got quite something today. There we go. Nicely blocked off. Doesn't have to be pretty.
Nope.
We're going to be facing it now, and then eventually it'll be monocapped like the back wall behind you over there, won't it?
Yeah, this is all going to get monocapped. Right, and there they are, done. As we say, didn't have to look pretty. It's all going to be getting monocapped in the end. And that's it, we had a little bit extra. We just levelled those two bits off there. So, cool. Right, I'm going to sit out in the sun. As much as it's really, really windy, it's still nice and warm. Which makes a change, because the last few weeks, in fact the last couple of days, the wind has been cold. But today, it isn't. So although it's horrible and windy, it's also nice in the warmth.
Hey, taking the concrete blocks away, we shuttered this up yesterday with concrete blocks and rocks to stop the dogs getting at it whilst it was still going off. It's all completely solid, absolutely perfect. So solves the problem for now of potentially the dogs getting damaged by whatever might or might not have been under there, and will give us something to render up to with monocap when the time comes. The reason I'm doing this on this beautiful sunny day is because somebody's walking around somewhat gingerly.
Yes, it was back-breaking work yesterday, literally. So, I don't know how I managed it, but I did. My back's gone again. Hopefully it'll be okay tomorrow.
It'll have to be, you can't not go to Spanish lesson.
Oh no, I can't. There you go. Glass back strikes again.
Things I have to live with, eh? We've got some friends coming around to lunch today, so I thought I'd share with you my bread that I do, just to tear and share. I'll call it homage to focacciata, just a flatbread. In this bowl I have 500 grams of plain flour, not strong bread flour, just plain flour, with a teaspoon of salt. In this jug I've got 300 millilitres of warm water with a teaspoon of sugar, and then fresh yeast from the supermarket. I'm going to add the yeast to the water to activate it, and we'll come back and amalgamate everything in a wee bit. That's the yeast putty, as it were, in there. Get that to melt, and once it's activated, once it's bubbling, I'm going to add a tablespoon of olive oil into this liquid. Right, it's been 10 minutes or so. You can just see that starting to bubble on the top. That is good enough for me. So to that, I'm going to add approximately a tablespoon of oil. It's been in the fridge, that's why it's a little bit lumpy. Mix that in, and we're good to go. Now this recipe is great. As some of you know, I struggle with carpal tunnel syndrome, and I can't knead bread the way I used to. I can't mix this in, take it out, knead it for 20 minutes, knock it back, knead it again, but it still seems to work. So this is really, really simple. And I'm sure all you proper bread aficionados will have an absolute fit. Mix this in till it's all amalgamated, more or less. Not like you would do a proper traditional bread loaf. At this point, I would usually knock it back onto the table, start kneading away, make it all nice and smooth, and then put it back in the bowl, leave it to rise. There we go, all my liquid is pretty much into the dough. You can see that it's still a bit patchy. But it's not what you would expect for kneading away now, making a lovely smooth dough. I will literally put that in there and walk away. Leave it to do its bready thing. I'll show you, I'll time it now. It's quite a cold day today. Probably in about an hour, we should have some rising, some space, and then it'll be time to put it actually into the tray. It's as simple as that. So we'll come back to it in a bit. Okay, so it's been exactly an hour. Look what we've got. So it's risen beautifully. It's not particularly warm in here. It is just warming up because I've got the oven on, because I've got a cake on the go as well. But it's cooler than I would have had it at home in the UK, and that has risen. Now I've also done this and left it overnight in the fridge, and the next morning it works really well too. So here's my beaten up tray. It's used for all sorts. I'm just putting some olive oil on here, just because we have olive oil and we can, so it makes sense. Okay. Nothing pretty about this. Spread it out. Doesn't matter if you get a hole all the way through, it'll fix itself. I just want it pretty much covering what I've got here. Now I don't want to waste cling film and put it on top and then it sticks to it and then you have to take it off and it's just rubbish. Rather than adding to landfill, this is going to rise a bit before we actually cook it. I'm just going to spread oil on it to stop it drying out. And then before it's time to cook, I'll put dimples in it with my fingers, because it will rise. And I will add, I've just got over here fresh garlic and fresh thyme. And I'll show you that nearer the time. Okay, that's been left for a further half hour. Can you see how it's risen? Oven is on, getting it nice and hot, and all I'm going to do now is make divots. I'm going to add some herbs, like I said. I've chosen thyme and garlic. Oh, and then I need to get some sea salt. Rock salt was always nice on this as well. And can you see, because I put the oil covering on it earlier, it hasn't dried out even though it didn't have cling film. Oh, not easy to open the bag with oily fingers. I hope our guests like garlic. I didn't think of that. We do. Okay. I wash my hands, put some rock salt on and chuck it in the oven. 200 degrees, approximately half an hour, but you'll see it when it starts to turn colour. I'll show you that later. There it is, out the oven. Another drizzle of oil. And that's what you end up with. As I said, I hope the guests like the garlic.
Well, that's 2 lessons I've had now. 2 days of 3 hours of intensive learning Spanish. It's hard work for me. It really, really is hard work for me. But it's really good. I'm really, really enjoying it. I've got lots and lots of practice stuff to do. We did have some homework on the first day to be done to be handed in today, or not necessarily handed in, but to be reviewed today. I didn't do too well. It is what it is, and I'll get better. There was a grid of words we had to do, and we had to do a connection to get from one side of this grid to another side of this grid. And yeah, my limited understanding made me think of one particular sound of the word that's connected, and I couldn't see it. Just, I got so far and then that was it. But once I got that sound stuck in my head, I couldn't get it out and go to the correct sound, which is unfortunate, but I'll get there. I did say to Lillian, here, have a look at this and see what you think, and she looked at it and spent a few minutes looking it over, obviously not doing the lessons because she doesn't really need to, and my poor explanation, she said, no, I can't get it either. And then I've just shown her it and she's gone, well, if you'd have explained it better, I'd have understood. So, and she said, yeah, it's clear. It's this, there to there to there to there. And yeah, I felt a little bit silly. But she also did say when I handed her it, to go over it, I'm not doing your homework for you. The idea is for you to learn. Yeah, so, that's that. Update on my glass back. It's still not very good. It is on the mend, but I just have to rest it a few more days. I haven't got a clue how I did it, but I did it, or it did it. I don't know. It happens. So, anyway, we've got some friends coming this afternoon for a visit, so that's nice. And it looks like Lillian's made some nice bread. Can't wait to try that because I very like that one. Right, so we also thought we'd give an update on the lime putty. We'll go in and have a look in a second. So that's been about 6 weeks.
It has?
Yeah, about 6 weeks-ish off the top of our heads. So what we'll do is we'll put a link in for people that may be interested that haven't actually seen the video that we did when we was making it. Okay, right, let's go in and have a look. There's like a weird crust on it though.
Oh yeah.
So. There you go. Lime putty. For the use of. For using for lime wash really. So this is the one that we did with the powdered lime. Just swivel that off. And this is from the quick lime. We still haven't cleared the tiles up. There you go. It's got a weird crust on it. Oh, and this is more watery. I just tried scooping some off. It's not quite as solid as the other one, but there we go. This still needs potentially a little bit longer, but it is still a putty for getting down the bottom. There we go. I would suggest we've got, well, that whole thing there is 50 litres.
Yes.
With the water, and obviously you don't have it that full of lime in your lime wash. So potentially there is nearly 200 litres once it's mixed with whitewash.
Yeah.
And this thing is a UK 40 gallon, that's 200 litres.
Yeah.
And it's
full too.
Well, yeah, that's the water, but the lime's down to there, yeah.
About there.
So potentially, we've got a lot. I wouldn't like to do the maths, but if we used all this lot, I would guess if we did it at 4 to 1,
yeah,
that's 800 litres of lime wash there.
Yes.
Potentially. That's a lot.
We're going to need it. We've got a lot to whitewash.
I know we do.
Yeah.
So, brilliant.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, that's ready to go. That, because of the experiment, we ought to leave it another couple of 3 weeks. But by the time we're ready to use it,
it'll be a longer time anyway.
It'll be well ready.
Yeah, they say a minimum of 3 months, don't they?
That's what they say, yeah.
Which it will be by the time we finish caves. So that's good. That's good.
I can't get myself out now.
I was just about to say, I'll leave you to suffer your way out of there with your bad back.
Thanks for watching Tales from the Cave Side. If you like what we do, please consider subscribing if you haven't already. Drop us a like and leave us a comment. See you on the next one.